Good day, everyone. Welcome back on the session with Almas. My name is Rahma Mustapha Goni, and we've been talking about assertiveness training. And today, too, I have with me in the studio our special guest, Mr. Folajaiye Kareem. Welcome.
Thank you once again for having me.
So today, this is the second episode, and we'll be talking about aggressiveness. So, Mr. Fola, our viewers would like to know what is the meaning of aggressiveness, or what does it mean for a person to be aggressive?
All right, for someone to be aggressive doesn't necessarily mean that you are violent in your actions. It can also be in a non-verbal way. So anything that you do that enables you stand up for your rights in a way that will also affect the rights of other people or the esteem of other people can be regarded as aggressiveness.
Okay. All right, so we talked about passiveness in the previous episode, and it looked like it is the lowest point of behavior that a person can find himself in. So do you think aggressiveness is the opposite of passivity? And can you give us some examples?
Oh, yes. It's almost like it's a continuum. So we have aggressiveness being in this end and passiveness or passivity being in this end.
Okay.
So what that means is that it is like a direct opposite of being passive. And it's interesting to know that aggressiveness has characteristics that are also as equal and opposite of that is associated with passivity.
Okay. So, a lot of times people, almost every day and everyone goes through daily challenges. Some people go through trauma, depression, and they don't even know, right? So when all of these things build up, or some of them, or any of them builds up, the person now becomes really aggressive and then explodes. And he doesn't even know that he's being aggressive. So how do you know that you yourself or someone around you is being aggressive?
Okay, this just helps us to connect or talk about the characteristics of people who are assertive or aggressive.
Okay.
When someone is aggressive, usually, more often than not, they have verbal characteristics and non-verbal characteristics that show that. Let me just interject by saying that a lot of times people focus on our non-verbal attributes when we are communicating. So for instance, as we are talking, people are looking at my facial expression, they are trying to gauge the disparity between my facial expression and what I say. So when somebody is aggressive, they could give you a tone of maybe just a monotone. And
now,
then they are
like
talking,
this, I would just say, this person is angry.
Exactly, like a monotone. You just be like, so what's my business? When they say things like that. Or they clench their jaw. Or they close their hands like this, This is saying, don't approach me.
Okay.
Do you understand? Or you clench your fists. It's saying, I'm ready for being violent.
Okay.
These little things, they are subtle, but they are important in communicating aggressively. However, we also have situations where people talk. And when they talk, sometimes you may not necessarily shout, but you'll be aggressive. So, for instance, if you say, yeah, right, or if they born you well, try that thing. You know that when you do things,
maybe the wordings.
Like exactly.
Yeah.
It's very important. It can also be in a sarcastic tone when you say something and you just downplay somebody's idea and you call yourself intelligent.
Okay.
Those kinds of things. So these are ways that people can be aggressive.
All right. So, we're coming back to still interaction with people, sometimes maybe in relationships, sometimes with our friends, with our families. So if someone is aggressive, or maybe it's you who is the aggressive person, and people don't even tell you that you're aggressive. So, these kind of things create a toxic relationship or environment, right? So when do you think is the right time to seek help, knowing that you are aggressive?
Well, for any issue at all, when I'm a psychologist, and when people come to me and they have questions or they have things that are issues of concern to them, a lot of time is as a result of the fact that, number one, there is an impairment in their functioning. So maybe it's causing some form of havoc in their relationship, in their personal well-being, in their careers, in their spiritual well-being as well.
Okay.
It may interest you to know. And then sometimes it can be as a result of the fact that other people are not having, they don't just like the way that person is acting, and it's becoming an issue of concern to other people, those that are aware, that are around their environment. The bottom line is that people should, when there is a problem, when people seek help for it, then we can now find out the solution from that.
Okay, sometimes it can even be anger issues or something like that. And they don't even know that they are being in that position. All right, so I would like to add an Islamic perspective to this. Aggressiveness looks like being harsh, and it's not healthy for you and also for people around you. Just as it is mentioned in the Quran, where Allah says to the Prophet that it is because of his mercy that he is lenient to people. Had it been he is harsh, people will leave his side. So, if you are looking at all these things, people will leave your side. It's going to repel people from you if you're being harsh. So I think you will have to find a way to maybe defend yourself in the face of tyranny, or if you're going to take away yourself from harm's way. That is the only way maybe you can be aggressive, but not even in a violent way as a result of that. So we've heard from our psychologist in this episode about aggressiveness. So Mr. Fala, do you have anything to add?
Oh yes, I just like a pass through from what you have said. When people are aggressive, sometimes it pays for them to show some level of aggressiveness, particularly to people who are in turn aggressive to them back. Okay. So it's also, even in passivity, sometimes it costs you, but sometimes it's to your advantage. Okay. Bottom line is to know how to communicate, when to communicate, and how to communicate assertiveness, aggressiveness, or passivity.
Just like action and reaction kind of a thing.
Exactly.
All right. So if you'd like to know how to be assertive and also how to come out of being passive and also aggressive, you have to watch the next episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.